Guys, it is the end of the year, and at the end of the year, I had the craziest knife we're gonna see this year come in. This thing's nuts. Let's take a look at it from above.
Guys, this knife is absolutely insane looking. It's the American Knives Ultimatum, and this thing is absolutely all sorts of insane, but it's a lot of fun. So let's get this out of the way. Now, if you guys remember, I did a video at the knife show at California Custom Knife Show, and I talked to Kurt. He had some custom versions of this knife and a prototype that he was talking about showing of this knife. Now, this is the production version of his custom knife called the Ultimatum. This thing is absolutely a lot of fun. This is done by Reat, and it's in titanium M390, and it is absolutely insane. It has got a nice deep hollow that comes down to a really thin behind the edge profile, nice sweeping forward edge that comes up in this compound recurve tonto, big fuller on the back, crazy jimping. We'll talk about that in a little bit. It is thumb stud and top flipper operated, so you can thumb flip it, you can reverse flick it, you can top flip it. Now, the top flipper on this, Kurt did a really good job with this. These handles come down nicely done, nice and slender, but they're rounded and contoured around to where it doesn't feel too thin. There's enough meat to it to fill your hand properly. The inlays on this one is done in bronze and black micarta with bronze hardware, and it's a subdued kind of bronze. It is not your over-the-top polished and pop kind of bronze. Backspacer on this matches, and it's been done really well. You can't really feel that gap, but it gives it a nice clean line where it's just kind of contoured in. The micarta on this is done to where it's fairly soft, fairly softened and sanded down, but it's not slick. It's just on the verge. It's just about in that Goldilocks zone. Pocket clip is contoured around and in and out of pocket. This is beautiful because with this inlay on it, this overlay basically, it covers your lock bar, so it's not at all catching, which means that you don't have any problems with this catching in pockets. This handle has got these big areas for your fingers here. So you've got this really good grip on it, and you can get up on it like this. Now, this is a knife where you can get way up on here, put your finger in here, and then cut around a lot like you can do with things like my Norseman. So it gives you the ability to use that forward point there really well. Nice rounded area here. Even though this is a flat, it's not thick. Some knives that do this hollow into a flat for their tontos, a lot of times this forward part winds up being really thick. Not on this one. It cuts really well. Nice fuller on this. You can reverse flick off of the fuller if you want. I meant to mention that earlier. Action on this, really nice and smooth. Detent on it is just about perfect. Good lockup on this. And the blade finish on this is just beautiful. Now, this is the first I've had it out of its box. This came from my buddy Tino. He dropped it off yesterday. I looked at it cursory, and now I am definitely carrying. I love the snap on that. This thing feels so good in hand when you just get on it. It's got this kind of candid down angle on the blade where it's not really in the blade, but your forward point here on that tonto is just right there. It just wants to slash. This is just an angry looking knife. It looks like something that the Predator would carry. I really do dig this knife a lot. I love it. There are very few things about it that I am not a fan of, especially with being this over the top. I love knives like this that are really over the top and kind of garish, but still super functional. And from the cutting I've done with this so far, it cuts really well. That action is just so smooth. It's not quite drop shut, but there's just no friction. It's just about perfect. I'm sometimes not a fan of the super drop shut. It can be problematic. And then just the lines of it are really cool. But these pops that you get with this pivot collar and then the micarta inlays and the fact it is a subdued kind of ano on this, I dig it. It looks like something that would come off of a pirate ship from, Pirates of the Caribbean or something like that. Sorry, my phone was ringing. I had to answer it. But yeah, so there's only a couple small things about this. We'll talk about those right after you guys hear from a video sponsor.
Guys, you've heard me talk about Coffee Brand Coffee a bunch of times. I'm going to do it again real quick. Coffee Brand Coffee is a channel sponsor. They are a great company sponsoring small channels like mine, but they also are a guilt-free purchase because they do not practice any politics. They have a money-back guarantee, and they roast their coffee on demand. So if you're interested in it, my link down below in the videos saves you 10% at checkout, sometimes more depending on what they've got going on as far as specials and sales. So go check them out. Great product. Thank you very much for sponsoring the channel, Coffee Brand Coffee. Let's get back to the knife.
So only a couple small things about this. The big elephant in the room is this jimping definitely tears up pockets. I put this in pocket today, and I'll show you right here. I ripped up a pair of pants. They were already a little bit ripped, but I definitely ripped them a lot worse than they were. Thumb stud coming off with my thumb. It's a really good thumb stud. It's not like it's a bad thumb stud. It's just really close to that, and I find myself repositioning it. That's just a personal preference. I actually find it easier to reverse flick it than I do to thumb flip it. But, you know, hey, you've got the fuller on it that works really great and a good top flipper. Next thing. It's just an aesthetic thing with me. As much as I like the subdued look of that, can you see how much easier that snail trails? Comparatively to something like this, that is a finer finish, a more polished finish that doesn't show it near as easily, this is definitely going to snail trail up a lot easier if that's something that you know, if you're the kind of guy that wants your knife finish to stay nice. Now you can always then re-anodize it. You're going to have some contrast, and you can do a different voltage bronze and get a different color. And then one of the last couple things, this is kind of tight for me. This is one of the few knives I would say would do better to have a little bit more material removed in here. Sometimes I get critical of companies that remove too much material. But with big hands, it's a little bit harder to get my thumb in there. Now, access to it is not horrible, and the lock bar tension is just about perfect. I will say on the flip side of that is very, very comfortable because they didn't scallop that down and lower this forward side. So really good. And then the last thing, the angle of the pocket clip, depending on how I'm holding it, I can definitely feel it. And it's at a very strong angle, which kind of makes it sit in the pocket a little weird. Just a little bit more curvature on that than I would want. It is aesthetic. I dig it. It follows the lines of the knife, but it just in pocket is one of those things. Now, I say all these things, but I want to tell you guys, I absolutely love this knife. I love the aesthetics of it. I love the way it feels. I like the weight balance. I love everything. Just a couple small things about it. It is a very, very striking knife. So with that being said, let's turn this around. We'll do some final thoughts and send you out about your day.
Yeah, this thing is awesome. It is one of those over-the-top knives that might not be for everyone, but I really, really, really dig it. So thanks to my buddy Tino for letting me borrow it. Thanks to Kurt for being so cool to let me know that this was coming and talk to me about it at the show like a couple years ago. So guys, that's it on this one. You know what to do. Like the videos. If you don't like them, give them a thumbs down, but tell me why. You know that they're sponsors. I dropped a sponsored ad in. You can visit those sponsors. Coffee Brand Coffee and Tempered Trail have get a discount built in. You can also go over to Beyond EDC and use coupon code CrazySharp, all one word. That, or lowercase, that will save you 40% at Beyond EDC, and it will also save you 10% at Ferrum Forge Knife Works and Rosecraft Blades. You can take any of my affiliate links down below, grab those if you're going to do some knife shopping. I've got most of the major vendors, Blade HQ, Knife Ship Free. I've got a couple new ones. I got Cansep, I got Kaiser, and I've got QSP. I'll add those in as well. Those support the channel. Don't cost you anything at checkout. I've got an Amazon store. It works the same way. Take that, pin it to your browser, use it for any Amazon shopping. Join the community Discord down below. It's free. There's a link to it. It says join the community, and check out my memberships. That supports the channel. I do a lot of stuff for my members. You have a couple days left to get a hold of me if you found out that you won, but if not, those knives go back on the shelf to be given out at a later date. So yeah, check all that out, guys. I love y'all. Keep it clean in the comment section. If it's your birthday, happy birthday, and I'll see you in the next video.